I am hunter.
Oklahoma. Oklahoma. When I got the invite to hunt whitetails in Oklahoma, I was all over because A, Oklahoma's still on my bucket list. I've tried a few times, come up empty-handed, so I'm always willing to come back. And B, Paul from Smith & Wesson had something special he wanted me to shoot. Something different, something a little bit out of the norm, but something that was right up my alley. There were a couple things I didn't expect. I get to shoot an AR. Now, I've been shooting coyotes with ARs for a long time, and I've killed a couple of whitetails with ARs, but in the whitetail world, ARs are still pretty new. So any chance I get to shoot a gun like this at a whitetail, I'm in. Let's go touch a couple off at the range, and tomorrow, it's on. I know if any Okie probably heard me say this, they'd take me out back and beat me, but I think Oklahoma kind of gets lost somewhere between Texas and Kansas when it gets to hunting whitetails. Not only is it gorgeous, I mean, the terrain looks such, I mean, at least right here, the terrain is such that you wouldn't expect whitetails to be here at all. I'm expecting pronghorns and mule deer to go running around these jackrabbits, but there are whitetails here, and it doesn't just hold whitetails, it holds lots of whitetails and lots of big whitetails. It was an awesome surprise. I didn't expect it to be below freezing. I mean, heck, we're in Oklahoma. Yeah, we're getting toward the end of November, and it's supposed to be cold, but not this cold in Oklahoma, and that's a good thing. The whitetails are going to be on their feet. If I could script a whitetail hunt how I want it to go, I don't really know, because when a deer comes in really, really quickly, my nerves get fired up, and then they kind of subside, but usually not before the shot happens or the shot opportunity happens. If he comes in and hangs up in the brush, well, then my heart gets fired up and that takes forever and I'm still shaking. I don't really know what the perfect setup is. Like a lot of different states in the northern part of the country, the rifle season starts late in Oklahoma as it does up there. So I'm done hunting the rut, but here, the rifle opener hits perfect. We crawled in stand on morning number 1. Things are going like crazy. So I could finish up there, hunt the rut hard, come down here. It was like I just kept on going. But it's Oklahoma. I was almost ready to pack my shorts and go with full body face paint. I mean, it's supposed to be warm. The weather forecast, we didn't need a forecast. We got out of the airport, the windows were icing up, and it was cold. As a northern guy, I knew exactly what that meant for deer movement too.
It's amazing how quickly the conditions have changed. I mean, are the roads as slick as they look right now?
They're getting pretty slippery, and what's interesting is you only had to go about 40 miles west of here, and it was big snowflakes coming down and piling up.
I didn't see it coming at all, but it seemed like Christmas had come early in Oklahoma by about a month. And in a situation like this, it pays big time to be a northern boy, because while everybody is freezing, I'm sitting there watching the whitetail activity crank up, and I am super comfortable. Shortly after the morning hunt, everything subsided. It got back to Oklahoma normal, and when we hit the stand that evening, I had one Christmas present waiting for me that I didn't expect: bonus piggies. But first things first, we actually had to get into the blind. Now, I hate to call it a problem when there's a buck running does right around in front of your stand, but we had to wait, let this yearling buck run these 3 does out of the area, slipped in, and hoped that that doe would come back bringing a bigger buck with her. Once I clear that corner, we're going to at least ease down to these trees right here. You'll be able to see the field from there. And then we'll sneak over that fence, or we might go straight down this way. And then once we were in the stand, I've got 2,000 pounds of lazy bull standing right in front of me. He was close enough that if I had a bayonet on that AR, I would have had a 2,000-pound shish kebab. Apparently the grass right in front of the blind was much better tasting than any grass in the rest of that field. Well, as that evening progressed, I found myself in kind of a 1-step back, 2-step forward situation. Of course, the doe came back like I figured she would to feed, but she didn't have a bigger buck with her. The good news is that that daggone bull finally moved away, so I don't have to worry about shooting him. And then came the piggies. And the thing I love about pigs is that, yes, they can move fast, but no matter how fast their legs go, it always seems like they're kind of moving slow. And this time, they were heading in the right direction. I'll wait for it to turn. You ready? Nah, it's too quarter dark. Turn. Turn. You ready? Are you ready? next to coyote hunting, the perfect application for an AR is shooting hogs. These hogs are down here. You can see how many that were in that group. There must have been 15 of them. Hogs are super prolific. They're super destructive. And when it comes to cattle country and deer country, that's the first critter you want to get rid of when you're trying to improve the habitat. We had a young doe come in with 2 fawns. Wasn't really what I wanted. She'd have been a great eater, but not what I wanted. And as darkness got closer, when a bunch of pigs came out, I would have been a fool not to take advantage of that situation. So, when in Rome, shoot the pigs if they're in front of
you. North American Hunter is brought to you by Hornady, accurate, deadly, dependable. Ruger, rugged, reliable firearms. M&P, advanced by design. Can-Am off-road vehicles. Can-Am, the ride says it all. And by Matthews, catch us if you can.
As I mentioned briefly before, this is my second hunt to Oklahoma. Now, the first one I don't like to talk about very often, and I'm going to blame it on the muzzleloader any chance I get that I missed that deer. All right, yeah. Are you sure? Yeah, go ahead, take him. All right, take him. Diving in him, I can't even tell. But I can tell this time it's going to be different. I've already got a pig on the ground, and the whitetails are rolling. Hunting a new stand in a new place for the first time is always awesome. I mean, it's like the whitetail opener at home, but without having any idea where I'm going. So I crawl up in a stand. This is a cool spot. I've never been here before, never tagged an Oklahoma whitetail. I don't want it to be done first thing in the morning. And then we started seeing some of these deer. Young buck. That's a phenomenal sign right there. But as it gets light, it's like the dreams I had the night before about shooting that big deer, watching all kinds of deer run through and getting to shoot the big one. Those dreams become a reality because you see exactly what's going on. You look at the terrain, use your whitetail knowledge, say, all right, at home, I think the deer are gonna come through this funnel, and I think they're gonna work this way, following those, and they're going off this way. You kind of put that game plan together from your previous knowledge, look at what you're dealing with, and the anticipation is super high for this place. When I got into the depths of what the chain ranch is all about, everything is built around family, so that's the foundation. And they believe that this land is God's and that they're here to manage it.
The Lord has provided everything that we have and could take it away from us at any minute. It's not ours, it's His. And my grandfather, great-grandfather, and great-great-grandfather felt like that everything we're here managing is on loan from Him. 1893, great-great-grandfather Oscar Chain come in here from Yoder, Kansas, and found this quarter that currently we're on right now. This is our 120th year anniversary. We're at roughly 60,000 acres. We're primarily a commercial cow-calf operation. We have an outfitting business, oil and gas, and wind energy. And then in '97, we actually set up an LLC, formed an LLC, and went full-time into the outfitting business. We hunt whitetails in Oklahoma and Kansas, all free-range whitetail, pheasants, quail, dove, duck. We're pretty integrated into lots of different stuff.
Right there, right there. On the left, on the left. Can you hear it? My heart's thumping. Yeah, he's a good one. He's a very good deer. We had watched a couple smaller bucks funnel through. One was chasing a doe. And then a deer walked out from the left, and I looked at him and I immediately said, we have to kill him to myself. And there was no question. We're running out of time. And he came in so darn quick that I didn't have time to get the shakes hardly. Came in and started cruising right out. I did everything I could to stop him. And of course, what does he do when he stops? He's got his hind end looking right toward me, and I am not gonna take that shot. I looked at it, and I thought about it, and I wanted it. And of course, when he looks back over his shoulder, he looks to be about 30 inches wide, stand about 8 feet tall. I got nothing. He's walking away. He's gonna get behind that brush. I didn't do it, and I'm glad I didn't do it, because a high-risk shot like that is just, it's not worth it. I mean, seriously, he was a good deer, but he interrupted my Pop-Tart. I know this horse has been beaten to death, resurrected, and beaten to death again, but any opportunity I get to hunt whitetails with an AR, I'm gonna take it immediately. Let me throw it at you like this. In Minnesota, which has some of the more restrictive gun laws in the United States, I can take a 5-shot auto-loading shotgun, shoot slugs out of it, and hunt deer completely legally. This gun right here is not so different other than the way it looks. Now let me break it down. In the stock, there's a spring, helps reduce recoil. The pistol grip right here, which is what some people get hung up on, that helps reduce recoil, just like any thumb hole stock in a turkey gun. And how it works, it's a similar gas system to any auto-loading waterfall gun. And on top of all that, take this in the deer woods, it's super accurate. What hunter wouldn't want that? Buck right there. It had been more than an hour since the main morning commute had gone through, and things were pretty quiet, hadn't seen a deer, and I was kind of lounging back, keeping my eyes open, and I saw something coming through the trees. Now, there had been a couple of squirrels back there screwing around. I thought it was one of those, and it was the white face of a deer coming. I think that's the same buck we saw. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but he is definitely a shooter. I could tell by the way he was coming through that he was not going to go through the main opening of where I wanted to shoot. He was going to skirt it to the left, and he wasn't going to give me much time at all. Ready? I got my Pop-Tart down this time. I was sitting here looking through the window, and the window was kind of dirty, so I kept psyching myself out thinking, I'm seeing something. I looked twice, and this time I actually was. I don't know if it was the same buck we saw a little while ago. That's been almost an hour now. But he came in, he cut the corner, was just doing some scent checking, and I had just a brief second to get a shot off. Kind of a goofy Hartle grunt yell. He stopped and looked, and I let him have it. He mule kicked hard. That's him right there. Oh, sweet. I hit him way better than I thought I did too. If that's the exit hole, the entrance hole's got to be up here further. That's perfect. Look at that. Look at the mass on that. That right there is a beautiful Oklahoma whitetail. And heck, we're not 40 miles from the Kansas border. I mean, we're hunting the same deer here essentially. The deer that live in Kansas are so closely related to deer that live here. I mean, these are not Texas-bodied whitetails. Look at this guy. He's probably 5 years old. He's got solid mass. I mean, he's good and wide. This is much more than I was expecting from Oklahoma. This is perfect.
North American Hunter is brought to you by Supercharged Scent Killer by Wildlife Research Center. 99% peak antifreeze. Radiator protection that's guaranteed. Peak. Run true. Burris Optics, home of the Eliminator 3 laser scope. Thompson Center, America's master gun maker. And by the 4-in-1 Woodsman from Zippo Outdoor.